Hey there, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Hugh here. A few days ago, I put a video out that was my reaction to the trailer for the Confidence Man, the Hugh DeNeal story. There was a film put out in 2011, I think, and a DVD in 2012. Went to some film festivals and got some attention. And so I asked if people were going to be interested in seeing the full film and having it maybe available online or in some capacity. And so a number of people said yes, they were very interested. Talked to the filmmakers, and they've been talking with each other, and they're decided they're going to put it out on YouTube here eventually, soon, you know, and just might as well get it out into the world. It's a thing that they made, and there's not a lot of DVD copies left, really. I sold them as merch over the years and all, and people seem to react well to it. I've said this a few times, but I haven't watched the film since one of the premieres back maybe in 2012. That's the last time I saw it, and there's some special features on it I haven't seen and all, and but I'm proud to support the project and put it out. I've always given my support to it, and people want to see it, and there's comes to a point, why not put it out there. The band is cool with it. I'm cool with it. The filmmakers cool with it, and just figuring out those logistics. It will probably not be on my channel here, but on a different channel, I will give the links as they come to direct everyone there to see it. And so I thought maybe it could be kind of interesting to take a look at some of the reviews and things that came out back in 2011. This was Sliff review. I believe this was a St. Louis Film Festival, perhaps. Confidence Man, the Hugh DeNeal story, Sliff review. So it says the film begins with a scene familiar to fans of documentaries about music groups. Hugh DeNeal and his bandmates are in a car cruising down the highway, no doubt on their way to the next gig. No, not this time. They're on their way to Leavenworth, Kansas, so Hugh may turn himself in. This is one of the many surprises in Confidence Man, the Hugh DeNeal story. As the title suggests, Hugh is the main focus of the film. We follow him growing up in a small town in southern Illinois. He seems to drift until his brother inspired him to pursue a music career. The brothers and some friends formed the Woodbox Gang with Hugh as lead vocalist and author of their most popular songs in the caustic acoustic American genre. His lyrics were powerful and compelling. The gang toured the country and attracted the attention of former Dead Kennedy band member Jello Biafra, who signed them to his Alternative Tentacles music label. But the money was not coming in fast enough for Hugh. Now, with your typical behind the music type story, this is where drugs would come in to break up the band. Not quite. DeNeal decided to try and make extra cash from an internet investment scheme that involved blank t-shirts which unraveled into a classic Ponzi scheme. The film documents this downward spiral with lots of interviews with friends, law enforcement officers, family, and most revealing, DeNeal himself. Intercut is plenty of entrancing footage of the band's wild performances that sent audience into a frenzy. The great lyrics are printed out, too. This is a film that's a profile of gifted musicians and a cautionary tale of greed and corruption. Oh, that's a nice review of the deal. And so I was reflecting back, having not seen the movie. I probably, before I talk too much more about it, I should just put on my big boy pants and just watch it again to have a better grasp of what's going on with what I'm talking about, because it's been 14 or close to 15 years now since I've seen it. And so, based on memory, there's a couple of things that stand out. Um, One thing, there's a scene where I'm calling the prison. This is like a week or two before I'm going to be self-reporting over there to Leavenworth. And so that was a fortunate opportunity. A lot of people don't get the opportunity um, to basically report to prison they spend their time in a county jail often and are transported there. And so I was considered not a risk for flight, that I was going to follow through and do the deal. And so a scene in the movie is me calling, you know, the prison and saying, you know, is there anything I need to know before I report in a week or so? You know, and at the time I thought, well, that's what you do. I'm a citizen. I'm going to be doing a thing. I wanted to gather all the information necessary. And so in retrospect, I can only imagine how that kind of thing sounded to the guard that picked up. It probably sounded like, "Hello, my name is Hugh, and soon I will be an inmate. So could you please take time out of your day to tell me anything I need to know?" And like it probably seemed so ridiculous. And as far as I recall, what the person who picked up the phone, the guard at the prison, I was probably transferred there from somewhere, and they're like, "Just show up. They'll show you what to do." Click, you know, like not going to spend time talking to me, and so I remember thinking, well, that fellow was not very friendly. And it's just that kind of naivety, not knowing really what you're getting into, and so that's kind of interesting. Another element that this review, this was St. Louis uh, NPR, I guess. So this was going to be at the Wildy Theater. I remember this was really close to me being released. Um, and Alex in the band did a performance after this. So this says, from the evidence of this intriguing biographical documentary, Hugh DeNeal is like a lot of musicians, a shy exhibitionist. When he is recounting the rather extraordinary series of events that led to modest underground musical fame and a stretch in Leavenworth Federal Prison, he looks at his feet and his hands, off to the side, any place but at the camera, and he kind of mumbles. And that's true. One of the things that's made me not really want to watch the movie so much is I do see myself mumbling and looking around, looking at my feet, and but the interviews in the film of me are a couple weeks or so before I did report in, and I was kind of still in a bit of a state of shock, and I wasn't really certain how upfront I could be, in the way I talked about it. It sometimes things that you go through, they take a while, maybe even a number of years before you can speak directly about them and be just as plain and transparent as possible. Time doesn't necessarily heal all wounds, but it does uh, help get you to a place where you can just be honest about where you're at. Um, I'm okay to say that I am a criminal in remission, and I hope and expect to stay in that space for the rest of my life. And what I mean by that really is, um, and this is something that was talked about in like the halfway house that I went to at the very end of my sentence. I got to spend a few months there and not in the prison, and it was in Southern Illinois, over in Marion. And one of the counselors there, talked about uh, criminal thinking. It never actually ever leaves you, even when you leave um, an incarcerated situation. The criminal thinking never leaves. You don't just stop thinking about the cut corners and the way to maybe game a system or something. You just have to decide not to do that. It just comes down to your own decisions and your choices that you make every single day. So the reason I say criminal in remission as opposed to a a former criminal, or an ex felon, or any of that stuff, I think it's necessary to keep yourself in check every single day, um, to make sure you're doing the right things and on the right path. And I think that's really important. And a pitfall that a lot of people fall into is they say, well, I'm a good person, so therefore all the good decisions or all the decisions I make must be good, and it's impossible for me to do bad things or be a bad person because I'm a good person. Well, and that's a kind of a can be a dangerous thing. That's what I thought back when I was causing so much damage and destruction. I'm a good person, even if I cut some corners and uh, try to, you know, do things in the wrong way. In the end, it's all going to work out, and everybody's going to be happy about it. So therefore, it's okay, and I can justify it. And that's dangerous, dangerous thinking. So every single day, I do decide I am going to do the right thing and not do the wrong thing, because the wrong thing is kind of always there and available. And so you gotta stay, keep yourself on the right path, keep yourself in check. So anyhow, um, so back to, but when he sings his often bitter alt country songs, he spits and hurls the words at the audience like curses. DeNeal and his musical buddies grew up playing bluegrass and rockabilly in small town southern Illinois, which is culturally and geologically part of the Ozarks, and they eventually became regionally celebrated as the Woodbox Gang. Stylistically, the band plows the wide and fertile field between punk and bluegrass. DeNeal was the main songwriter, and his songs, at their excoriating best, exhibit a relationship to the furious surrealism of early Electric Dylan, although at times they can seem mighty self-conscious. No matter what angry words DeNeal was hurling at the audience, the Woodbox Gang at its best appears to have been one hell of a bar band, as the documentary illustrates with plenty of old, scratchy musical footage. The band achieved modest fame a few years ago, but DeNeal became addicted to the most ludicrous form of habitual gambling, scratch-off lottery tickets. And that's kind of part of it, but it's not really. The order of things is a little off in this review, but that's okay. Broke, he cooked up an equally ludicrous internet Ponzi scheme that, for a while at least, had strangers sending him thousands of dollars a week. And that is true. Needless to say, the bottom soon fell out, and DeNeal ended up in prison. He just got out, and depending on the state of his recently incarcerated nerves, he is expected to join members of the Woodbox Gang at a concert after the screening. Well, that didn't happen, but Alex did go play a solo show at the Wildey Theater. I have not been to that theater in Edwardsville, but I understand it's beautiful, and so that was very cool. And so I'm excited about the documentary. Going to be put online. I will point everybody to it when it comes out, and those who want to see it. And people have just asked about it so much over the years, and there's been a handful of DVD copies. There's not hardly any of those left. If you find one somewhere and you're interested, you might want to pick it up. So I wanted to show something here. This was a screening at the Liberty Theater in Murfreesboro, Illinois, just outside of Carbondale, back July 9th, 2011. And so appreciate DJ DNA for this video. This was in 2011. So this is the beginning of the screening. So keep in mind, so this is July 2011. I remember sitting in the Leavenworth Library knowing that this was happening, and I couldn't really tell anybody easily and say, hey, by the way, a movie was made about me and it's being screened right now, and I can't wait to hear how that all goes, because it sounds like you're a person making up stories. And, you know, people don't like that when you're locked in there. It makes you think they're there with a liar or somebody trying to impress people and not be too cool like that. And so I really couldn't say what was going on. So this is the beginning. I think we're going to see the filmmakers talking, at least a couple of them. So there's the marquee outside.
If you've got, road footage and you ran into him in Colorado at a music festival and you were shooting your video, in between shows, I'd like to talk with you.
So this was kind of a work in progress.
This is a live project. It's been a collaborative effort.
Dan Johnson on
like
stage with
24 people interviewed for this film. There's been over a dozen people step forward with
the people kept coming in.
If you're in the lobby, come in. The movie's about to begin.
Sorry.
So people keep coming in and all this stuff. I'm not sure what is happening at that moment, but people are excited.
It's 7 o'clock, not the 9.
Be found a seat, everybody.
Okay.
All right, so I guess they're about to show it the other stuff. And so the rest of the Woodbox gang played afterwards, played a few songs.
The king is gone.
Oh boy. So,
Alright, here's another new one for you. You can get these new ones on the CD outside.
so this is a song I wrote in prison, and I sent the lyrics, and then Alex and the band put together a tune.
This is called Against the Law.
I never got to hear this till I got out. It was pretty cool.
When I was against the law, got to his own name and make the devil drop his jaw. I still believe in you, God said I do too. Damnedest thing I
That's
ever
Alex
saw.
Kurtz singing, Dan Gett playing guitar, Greg Edwards playing drums, Nate Graham playing upright bass.
Well, the judge he said, now son, you pay for what you've done. He snarled in a southern drawl when I was against the law. When I was against the law, got to his own name and made the devil drop his jaw. Damn it!
All right, so that's good fun. That song's available on YouTube on the Competence Man soundtrack. That song is called "Against the Law." They did a few others. Let's just kind of scroll through here just a tad. They did some songs of ours. This is called "Debtor's Prison."
It's my only source of heat and light. I do more than them. That's what I told him, and I guess it's gonna be a mighty cold one tonight.
So that's pretty awesome. They did all that. Scroll to the.
Companies, they keep calling me, not up or low with your APR. All they want is a man among
This isn't a theater. A bunch of people up front, a bunch of people sitting down.
I don't know what I've been down to this. I'm a half step away from bankruptcy. No more in this prison, now it's taking consolidation. You tell me time to dream where you're gonna pull me.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
Isn't it weird how these songs kind of like became autobiographical?
It is.
I know at first they were just fictional.
Okay. So that's very cool. And some of these songs did feel like they became autobiographical, and what a strange, wild roller coaster. But anyhow, the full movie will be out, available online to be seen. I will notify you and point you in the direction to it for those who are interested. And I appreciate the interest, and the filmmakers do as well. And as a band, we're going to be playing more shows and doing things. So keep an eye out. We're going to be doing more shows than we have in these last several years. We just put out a new album, Brown Cane Toad, available in all the places. And so we're going to be releasing 25th anniversary of our very first album, Trash Can Americana, this coming summer as well. So exciting things happening. So anyway, enjoyed hanging out with you and spending time. So I hope you found this interesting. And I will talk to you soon.